people are mad at the game. People want refunds. Like, you guys need to pick up your slack. Like, stop fucking up. And that's basically what I replied back to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not going to apologize. Like, it's all true. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. What about stuff that really let you down?
Legendary armor was the biggest thing, and the one that immediately comes to mind, because it just did not come out for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And when it did come out, there were a lot of excuses around it. There were a lot of things that were just like, I don't think that's true. I think you're lying about this.
Mm-hmm.
Just that, like, I literally, like, I got kicked out of the partner program over it. Like, that was a whole thing. But I think I got kicked. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't even remember at this point, and I also just don't really care. I'm pretty sure I got kicked out of the partner program over the legendary armor stuff. But it was just like, really? Like, we wait like all this time, and the medium armor has a cape, and the reason you said the medium armor has a cape, it's not even just a cape. It doesn't have a cape until you like draw your weapon,
right?
And then the cape comes out of it. And the reason it has a cape is because all of the professions have a silhouette. And medium armor has a silhouette, and that's why there's so many trench coats. That makes a lot of sense if you ignore the fact that you can buy an outfit in the gym store and make every class look exactly the same. Or that you can turn on standard character models and the competitive game modes. And that legendary armor isn't for a competitive game mode, it's for PvE, where skins are all that matter. So, like, I'm not a particularly intelligent person. I'm just really good at, like, troubleshooting and taking things apart.
Okay.
So, like, the first time I watched that, well, I guess we could get into, like, my definition and, like, idea of, like, what intelligence actually is.
Pin that for later.
Yeah, later on. But, like, I was just like, I watched it the first time, and I was like, okay, I probably need to watch this a second time. And I watched it a second time, and I was like, I have some problems with this. And I watched it again, and I was like furious. I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Okay. Let's pause and paint and create a foundation for this, because you've published, I think, 4 different videos, and I've seen them all about this topic. So I'm gonna do everyone a favor to create some context so that we can all know what we're talking about. So, like I mentioned, we think that the armor was teased alongside the tease of the raids. So there's anticipation. Oh, what is legendary armor? Guild Wars 2 was a game at this point that only had legendary weapons. What made them legendary was their cost, number one. Number two, they tend to have some phenomenal effect, like they're really flashy and beautiful. So that created a high expectation for the visuals of the armor to have like sunrise quality armor, that kind of thing. And sunrise being the iconic great sword that you see on so many Guild Wars 2 screenshots, including many of my own. And additionally, they had the ability for you to, after you forge the weapon, change the stats on the fly, which could be useful if you want to use the same weapon in multiple builds. More useful for armor, I think, than it is for weapons. And additionally, we learned that legendary armor would have the ability to change runes without consuming them, which up till this point, if you wanted to change the rune on your armor, which if you're not a Guild Wars 2 player, it's kind of like a gem that has a unique effect. You would destroy the one that was in the armor already. Legendary armor, it just slides right off back into your inventory, baby. So that's what we were told. And then, like you mentioned, it didn't come out at the time that Wing 1 was released. It didn't come out when Wing 2 was released. It didn't come out when Wing 3 was released. And this whole time, the recipes were actually published ahead of time on the wiki, so people knew how to work towards it, and people were accruing legendary insights, which were the main gated material. There was, of course, a material cost that's similar to, for all 6 pieces of armor, roughly 1 weapon. So, but that wasn't the piece that most people cared about. It was the insights, because you needed to kill 150 bosses. 1 insight, 1 boss, in order to get there. So these players who are raiding, they've killed 150 bosses. They don't know what they're working towards, but they know it's legendary. There's this big build-up. And then we get we have a live stream where a pre-recorded segment between Ruby Bear, who's the community content manager, and Paul Ella, who was a producer with ArenaNet at the time, who we learned a few things from. One of the more interesting ones being that legendary armor had been worked on for 2 years, or as they put it, 1 year twice, because apparently after a year, they just scrapped everything they had because it didn't cut the mustard. And then they set us through a bunch of things about it. And I've rewatched your content, Preston, and there did seem to be some discrepancies. I wonder if you want to highlight a few more of those. I'll let you take up the narration from here.
Yeah.
Also, correct me if I missed anything.
No, that's basically it. Okay. I guess
I
the
can
first
tell
thing
you still feel pain over it.
Yeah, and there's so much to unpack.
Okay.
Probably the first thing is that the live stream they did with the armor, there was a problem with the color on the stream. And it looked incredibly similar, if not identical, to at the time, there wasn't reshade or anything. Mm-hmm. There was sweet effects. Yeah. And it looked pretty much identical to a sweet effects preset. Mm-hmm. And so I saw that and was like, oh my God, they're trying to use a graphics injector to make the armor look better. Because the armor had leaked ahead of time and people knew what it looked like. Mm-hmm. It got out somehow and people saw it. Everyone was already mad about the trench coat. And so anyways, Paul's on there talking about how you can dye the glow channels and the glow will persist. And he's dyeing stuff and it's not changing. But mm-hmm. There's a greater contrast in the color. And it's wait, this isn't right. What's going on? Mm-hmm. And so I accused them of using a sweet effects preset, and they got really mad over that. They're like, of course we wouldn't modify our game. Uh-huh. And someone who I still don't want to name their name. I don't think they're at the company anymore, but just out of respect for them, it's someone who was in a position that would have known if they were or were not using it. And they said, hey, look, man, mm-hmm. Yeah, they were like, you didn't hear this from me. But it was actually a hardware issue with the screen recording that caused the game to look weird. And since then, I've gone back and if you look at the trailer for the Reaper for Heart of Thorns, mm-hmm. the Reaper has that same color discrepancy. It mm-hmm. looks weird. And so presumably, yeah, there's there was some issue that was happening, and I guess they didn't have time to re-record everything. I don't really know. But anyways, that is what it is, and that's something that I'll own. I'm happy to say, my bad guys, I accused you of this, and this wasn't what it was. Cool.
Yeah. But there was still something wrong, and you did identify it, even though your suggestion of what it could be didn't hit the mark. It's still worth calling out. And why is it important that the colors were off? Why does that read? Why is that upsetting?
So because of so we had the silhouette argument where it was oh, and this is why the armor has a trench coat, blah, blah, blah. We had the you can dye the glow channels and the glow will stay whenever you stow the armor and draw it out. And that wasn't true. And you can watch the live stream and that doesn't happen on the live stream.
Yeah. You see Paul talking through saying, here's this part of the armor. It's like a crystal thing. And if you apply a dye to this dye channel, it'll change. And then it doesn't appear to change. He says it's happening and clearly it's not. I went back and watched that too. And you're right.
So it was we have things that are just obviously not true. I won't mm-hmm. say that they're lies, I guess. They felt like lies to me. And then you have this it's just stuff that didn't add up and stuff that was not true just started to pile and stack and stack and stack. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of friends of mine and myself, we found this bug where you can disable a headpiece or gloves with a little check mark in your hero panel, turn them on and off of your character.
Right. The visibility of the helm, that kind of stuff.
Yes. And if you spam click on that little check mark and hide and unhide your armor piece, toggle the visibility, if you do that fast enough and for long enough, you'll crash yourself and other people around you because it just loads and unloads the effects.
That was the bug.
So yeah,
I knew there was something.
You could crash Dragon Stand if you took your legendary armor into a Zerg and just auto clicked it. You could crash people out of that. I had a video about it that maybe you saw that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just like you don't know really what's happening, but like with that context behind it, you can see how it's actually a problem. And that video exists because like we voiced concerns on Twitter and said, "Hey, this is a problem. Like you can crash people out of the game." And they literally said on Twitter, "It's not a problem. Like this doesn't happen. That's not true." So I said, "Fuck you. I'll just record a video and put it on my YouTube channel and everyone can see that it actually happens." And so
sounds like that might be the thing that got you kicked from the partner program, if I can hazard a guess.
it was they didn't like me because like and like I'll just be real. Like I'll just be honest. Like I was an
Okay.
asshole. Like I was I was the guy that like my personality is just like I'm not going to take shit from you. Like come on, like if you want to throw hands, let's throw hands. Let's do it. Like let's just go. Let's just talk and let's just get it out and let's not
Fight it
pull any
out.
punches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like unfortunately, that type of personality does not fit in particularly well with the Guild Wars 2 is the friendliest community in all of MMOs.
Mm.
So like I mean, I have a little bit of an edge. I'm a rough guy. Like I've lived through a lot of bullshit in life that we can talk about later. But like I have never like had the desire to just like let things like that sneak past, especially when they just blatantly feel dishonest. And so I called them out on it, and I was very loud about it, and they didn't like it. And so they said, "Well, I mean, we don't have to let you be in the partner program." Like the
Yeah.
big precursor that got them to not like me was a tea time we did a long time ago.
Mm.
And like I was just brutal in that. Like I said a lot of things that were just like unprofessional would be like the nicest way to put it.
Okay.
Like they were just like insulting, mean. I remember I was in a movie theater like later that afternoon and I got a notification that Ruby followed me on Twitter and I knew I was in trouble when that happened.
Oh, no.
And so like I was like, she doesn't care about me. Like what's going on? And so anyways, I got home, checked my computer, and there was a big email from the partner program saying like, you can't be mean. Like this is a nice game. You were insulting. Like you can't say those things. And so I just replied back and said, "Hey, like basically like people are mad at the game. People want refunds. Like you guys need to pick up your like slack. Like stop fucking up." And that's basically what I replied back to them. And I was like, "I'm not going to apologize. Like it's all true. Sorry." Sorry is, an apology. But like anyways, so they didn't like me after that. They didn't do anything to punish me.
Yeah.
But the legendary armor was like yeah, we're gonna get rid of this guy now. We need to get rid of him.
Yeah. Once is an anomaly, twice is a pattern. That kind of idea.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, man, I hear you.